Hi, yeah, it's Xavier down the bottom of the garden. What a surprise again. And it's overcast and cloudy, and we're definitely going to have some light fluctuations on the system. So I apologise when you get to darker bits, but perhaps that just reflects my mood. And I'm loving, really loving all the comments I'm getting and the engagement. But anyway, I'm trying to keep things different. I suppose I'm a little bit lucky that I have got quite a few different species. As I said, in about 2016, on eBay I was able to go to a supplier who get 20 saplings, lots of different varieties of shrubs and plants. So I tried a whole number of things, the usual silver birch, hornbeam, that sort of stuff. But I also went for Italian Alder. So I think I got 10 of these back in 2016, and all the trees I'm going to show you are all from the same batch of 10. And I think even you're going to be pretty amazed at just the difference there is in whether you leave them in a pot, a small pot, or whether you allow them to go into a growing bed or whatever. And you're going to see different examples, and it won't surprise you, there's a major difference. But yeah, Italian Alder, it's an absolutely fantastic species to work with, or genus. It's just, you can wire, it's flexible, it has multiple flushes, it's forgiving. I just think you can do so much with it. Back buds with relative ease. Yeah, I mean, we've got some dye back here, but I can see there's green here, so I'm not going to cut anything back because I'm going to wait and see what actually buds back in the winter. I'll wait until the last month of winter. But yeah, so we've got something like this, and all I would be doing with this is just taking off the black spots. It's substantially smaller, and the truth is, when you look over the height and length of it, I think the toning method is probably in order here, but I won't do that this time. I'm just going to clean this up. Obviously we're now too late in the season to be expecting any flushes of growth, so all I'm really doing, I'm going to get rid of that, is cleaning it up. So there's green down there, which suggests we may well get some back budding in here, although not there because that's not green. That's the bit of green there, so I'm just going to say I'm not that bothered with this branch, to be honest. I'll be interested to see what happens with that bud there. But yeah, Italian Alder, so I'm just going to quickly prune this one back. You can see how flexible it is. I mean, let's say this is 2016. Got buds here. It's a bit like the small leaf lime. That back buds for fun. It really does, almost like my Satsuki azaleas do. So yeah, so I'm not planning to do anything with this, but it's nice and neat. Truthfully, I've got no plans to do anything with that, but I showed you this one really because that's an example of the smallest of the ones that started at the same time. Let's get something a bit bigger. Okay, so we have this one again. This one's been in a slightly bigger pot. That's probably about the only difference between that one and the one you've just seen. It's a little bit thicker. Certainly if you look down the base here, there's been a lot more development. Again, I know, unusual style for it. But I think with a lot of these ones, as I say, I bought 10 whips for, I don't know, it works up to about £1.50 a whip. So looking at this, nice and green. They keep fairly healthy as well. I think I've sprayed it once in total, but I've got this lower. You know, it's one of those odd things. I might actually air layer here next year and actually have the tree do a Tony chop here. I'm sorry, Tony, that's going to be all I'm going to refer to them from now on. It'll be the Tony chop, and that actually down there could become the new tree for it. But you know, I don't know if you can see, but in here you can see there a couple of buds there. They may well actually come out, so I'll just take a few of the bigger ones away. With stuff like this, unless there's an obvious problem with circulation and light, or diseased leaves, I do very, very light pruning now, especially if they're in pots like this, because I really want as much energy as possible to be going that way and into vascular growth, rather than anything else. So, and you know, where I clearly don't want growth, but truthfully this one's just here. We've got this branch coming out here. Look, it's actually coming out from the base of this one here, but it's far enough away from the trunk line that I can probably count that as a secondary branch. I've already been looking further. There's a bud back there. I want that to develop, and I may well wire that out again next year some point. So we've got a couple of branches there. We've got something growing up there which I'm not bothered about. It's not getting in the way of anything. Lovely down here. It's a nice green bud here, so that would suit me rather than this upward growing one. But again, with wire, and I could wire, but to be honest, I'm not going to. And you know, sometimes if I had more hands, all of these would be wired up, because then I'd be maximising the potential for development and structure setting. But you know, sometimes you have to accept that there's just too many trees, not enough days. Just take off the top, keep that there. And really what I'm doing now is looking at my profile for the tree and thinking about what I want. I want that to come out a lot further. If I keep this as one tree, I mean, that would be an interesting air layer there. Let's just get the angle right. And yeah, there's a little bit of cobwebby on some of these. So I'm removing those leaves where I can see obvious cobwebs and anything that may foster a little bit of ill health in our trees. Here, one bud there, I've got this and this. I certainly don't want that growing up any further up that way. Coming up to the crown here. The crown. Be the crown. Andrew, I don't know if you watched that film, The Crown. Yeah. And those of you who don't know what I'm doing, have just thought this guy's an absolute nah. Oh dear. Right. Looking under here, hopefully I've got 1, 2, which means I don't want the end one. So that way I'm bifurcating to 2, and I'll go from there. It's high up in the tree, so I'm not really looking at massive growth. It's quite high there, but I know there's another bud there. We'll get little buds in here. I just want to control that a little bit. That's all I'll do with that one, but that's an example of the next size. Really like that. Yeah, so we'll go for the next one then. They're getting progressively bigger, I think. And here's the third, and probably the biggest that we've got. I'll give it a quick spin. It's recently had some wire on it. It hasn't featured in any of the videos because, in truth, there's been too many other well-known varieties that I've wanted to explore on video. But this is very, very interesting. There's some interesting movement. The wiring's a little bit amateurish, but the key thing there is I wanted to hear is before it was up quite up here. I've just brought it down. Just create some different interest in there. I'll watch this wire because I mean, it is a relatively soft bark tree, so when you scar them, you can scar them quite badly. But because they back bud and grow branches so relatively easily, if you do cause any damage, it doesn't take long to regrow. It's had the pruning it's going to get, so it's literally, I've wired it, tried to establish, where's the front? Front's somewhere in there. Try to establish a basic definition with it. Definition? I don't know. A basic structure. I may actually have the front in there. I quite like that root spread, which means doing something with that possibly. I wonder what you guys think. I mean, sort of you end up going with the classic where I'm going to keep the front there open to the top 2/3, and then after that it can grow over. I'm starting to go away from some of these traditional patterns. Anyway, that's the third one. I don't need to do anything to that, so let's go for some stuff that is in a little bit more rural form, but all from the same batch. Okay, so this is the next one. This and the other two I've got here have spent time in nursery growing beds. which again, the one you've just seen, that's actually spent 2 or 3 years in a nursery growing bed, which is why you've got almost 3 times the trunk difference. And you know, sometimes that's the hard decision you make. You either make hard decisions like the Tony chop, or you go, I could make a little small weenie bonsai that's never going to get much more than small weenie and take 4 or 5 times as long, or I can just bite the bullet, do my little nursery bed, plant it, and then treat it as a bonsai in the ground and just keep pruning in the ground. And there's loads of videos on things like that, I know. Interesting and odd shapes here within there, this great horrible straight thing. I'm not averse to it. I know it's against the rules, but it's interesting. Interesting. All I've got to do with this is some burnt leaves, or they've certainly got that little leaf tip issue that so many seem to get. I'm just going to clear this up, cut it right back, and then I'll show you that one again. There's another one here, not quite as developed in the trunk. These are the trees I've got to be careful of, because I tend to wire them early in the year, and like a lot of the deciduous, sometimes they don't put on a big growth spurt until now, and you forget there's wire somewhere on them, and then they just absolutely muller you. Yeah, so it's an interesting, might to bring a branch around, sort of move around, or again, there is potentially the candidate for the Tony chop, I don't know. But these are the sort of trees that I love playing with, because you can really be rough and ready with them, and you can do so much, absolutely so much with them. And there is definitely interesting root bases on these. Yeah, I mean, I always said to you I love Japanese larch because they're so forgiving, you can do so much. But I must be honest, I have to be honest, Italian Alder. If you're new to the game, make me sound like a professional. If you're new to this and you want to try something different and it's actually relatively easy, get some Italian Alder, definitely. Again, with this one, I'll do the same thing. I'll do some pruning back. And when I say that, here's the example. You've got this great long length. I certainly don't want to be developing thickness up here. This is where everything's got to develop. So I'm going to take that right back. Take all these right back. Right back. I want to control all that growth. That's going up. I don't even want that. I don't want that. And you've seen me do it so many times. It's just a different variety. I'm just going to go around the whole tree and do that. So I'll come back, you'll see that when it's done. And the final one, which I'm going to show you, this is the ones that I said were in growing beds, this is included. One of them I decided to sort of go halfway. I can't remember if it's because there was a root issue or not, and I wasn't ready for it to go into a different sort of pot. Or it could have been I just didn't have a big enough plastic bonsai pot. Sorry, we've gone dark again, I know we have. This one I've just noticed has got wire on it. I don't remember when I put the wire on it, and it's not in my database, which means I can't even have a reminder set for it. But looking at it, doesn't look like the wire's gone in anywhere, but I must remember it's there. So again, it's no different. Can't remember why. I don't know where the front is with this at the moment. To be honest, I'm just having so much fun doing different stuff with it. Let's come right back on some of these. And this is what I love. I've just done it, I've taken the wrong branch off. There was a little thing coming out there which I wanted to use as a branch out here. I know full well I'll get another something coming, so again, I'll go around and do that with that. All I say to you is, when you're pruning at this time of the year, be very, very aware that it's pretty unlikely, not impossible, this one will probably flush again, but a lot of our species won't really get a hardy flush out, or some won't anyway. So getting to this time, they want to put all their energy into vascular growth and roots, getting themselves ready for the winter. So this is more pruning back to shape, really. Cosmetic pruning, perhaps. I'll come back to you this when this is done. Okay, nearly done. I did put a little bit of wire on. Was it this? Where did I put a little bit of wire on? Oh, it was on this one here. Yeah. So there's a little bit of wire to bring it in. I've actually cut the one that was under it back a bit. It's coming in. It's getting to the top. Nice and easy. That's a pretty ugly. It's almost right angles there, but wire will resolve that. But for now, we'll just take it back to there. Moving further up the tree, under here. To be fair, no. Now the next Tony chop could be actually up there, but let's just, yeah, 1, 2. So that's there, and then we've got this. We've got new growth up there, so that'll be doing there. A little bit of curling on some of these leaves. Aphids maybe getting in there. As you say, there's never any problem with your dieback. Doesn't really seem to feature with these. I just get rid of anything that's coming out from underneath, although just every now and then one of those little buds that comes from underneath the main branch does sit in perfectly for a replacement, which is, I probably pruned it away by mistake actually. Thought I had one on here. Oh, I know what I've done. Yeah, this little critter here was just one of those little buds that was underneath a big branch there, and that branch was going up there, and quite happy to cut that back, and that'll be fine. Anyway, that's all I'll do with that one. So still wire on, so I've got to remember, because that wire doesn't look as though it's digging in yet, but it will do. So very, very basic structure and shape there. Long way to go, and it may get Tony chopped a little bit further back. So T-seed. There you go. And I did mean to say, by the way, absolute so easy to do cuttings on these. Exactly the same cutting rules, and because it's later in the year, I'll go to the semi-ripe cuttings. Now I know that, and I've got some semi-ripes going on down there actually. I'll show you those, and they cut. They do really well. They really do. They're like weeds for me for cuttings. So I've got a load somewhere in the in that bed over there, which you can't see behind the camera. But yeah, so that's that one. This one's all pruned up, looking much tighter and neater. I almost get a sense of what it may actually look like, and yeah, I don't know. I have no idea what to do with that. But it's an interesting tree. It's different. It's definitely different. I just think it gives you so much scope to have fun. And I know you'll get buds here at some point. But yeah, so that's that one. I was going to say something and then I forgot. I probably remember. The good thing about using videotape is how old am I? Digital recordings is that you can add them later. Okay, so this one's pruned up. Yeah, nice straight. Sometimes I'll quite happily cut back to branches. There's a little bud there and there. It doesn't seem to have any sort of dieback issue with them. It'll die back about 1/2 centimetre, and then the next bud back it'll sprout from. So seems to do really, really well. Again, haven't got a clear idea yet in my mind what I'm going to do with this. Definitely seems very, very one-sided all over there. So it may well that it sort of lends itself to another 2 trees in there. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so that's my little bit on Italian Alder. Not a lot different from others, but definitely in my top 3 of starter trees for those who are just getting into bonsai or who just want to have fun with something different. Really, really great tree. 2 things I want to say is, first, I'm really, really keen to keep pushing #bonsai, and whichever country or region you want to put on there. Doesn't help you, but it certainly helps anyone who's searching for bonsai creators in the country or region. And the other thing I would say is, by this stage we are definitely getting to the latter end of pruning and stuff. and there's going to be a bit of a lag. So I've probably got material for other 8-9 videos now. Different sorts of trees. I've got junipers, other mugo pines. I've got the results of the kids having their next go at the cutting aster from the bonsai, not from the bonsai, from the Easter special. Got a few other ideas cooking. It's going to take us definitely through autumn and into winter, and then obviously in the late autumn we've got loads of maple pruning and some of the deciduous stuff that can be done. So there is going to be stuff that's going to be coming out that I'll have done 2, 3, sometimes even 4 weeks earlier, and it'll be too late for you to be doing it if you're thinking about it. But that's the way of the world. I want to get some of this stuff in my first year up on the channel, so when I do progression videos next year, it's got something to link to, and hopefully I'll have less but probably a bit more quality. Certainly my tops will be a bit more quality, I hope. Anyway, from Xavier down the bottom of the garden in the last day of August, happy bonsaiing and cheers. God bless.